Hey y'all, this is Cathy.
And this is Bernard.
And we're Voyage. And you're watching
PVTV. Alright. Tonight we're going to be talking about how it was when we talked to our family about, like, you know, being poly and just, like, you know, the different situations that took place. And that conversation that I had with my mom over the phone and the conversation my wife had over the phone with her parents also. Just give you a little background. My mom is like, she grew up Catholic, Haitian, so she's into your traditional background and, like, you know, your typical Haitian woman, you know, single parent, so, you know, she has high expectations for her son because, you know, she took her time raising him and she was the only parent in his life and the one that was involved, so, you know, because of that, you know, she wanted to make sure, like, you know, I steer clear of certain ways that my father was that, you know, could, like, be detrimental to my success or me growing up. I called my mom when I first came out and told my mom that we were poly, you know, and of course my mom has a little accent, so some of the stuff that I'll be saying to you tonight will be in Creole, but I'll also
you're gonna translate for our
non-Creole individuals who don't know what the fuck is going on and everything like that. But
so how was that, Bernard, when you called her?
It was a very uncomfortable situation. My mom is very unemotional and very, like, direct and straightforward and to the point. And
for those that are into signs, she's a Leo.
She's a Leo, yes. So
set it off.
Fire sign, bitch, crazy. Just to give you a heads up. But I called my mom up, and in the midst of it, I was waiting in line to get gas, and I was in the Chevy Impala that my wife owns and everything like that. And so I called her up and was telling her, like, hey, Ma, like, you know, just to give you a heads up, like, me and Cathy are poly. I don't know if you know what that means, Mom, but that means, like, you know, we have another person in our relationship and everything. And, like, she was like, you know, Bernard, what are you trying to... So that means, like, what are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying and stuff like that. Pali kisasaye. So she was like, Polly, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, Mami, makone zukone me Cathy say Marie Vinez. So Marie Vinez, it means, like, she's gay. And she likes girls and shit. And so I'm like, she's like, Bernard, mbage tabushab jouer avec ou quoi ça. So long story short, she's like, Bernard, I ain't got time to be fucking playing with you and shit like that. And I'm like, Mom, et pas jouer, m'a jouer. Cathy me fuck my boy, me garçon too. And I was like, that means, like, she likes girls and guys. So I was telling her that my wife is bisexual, so she knows about everything that's going on. And so my mom is like, you know, like,
you can't have two girlfriends.
Ou pas qu'un des girlfriend ben alors qui ça y est ou lever dans l'église tu vas quitter ou pas faire bail comme ça. So she's pretty much telling me, like, nigga, you was raised in the church, nigga, what the fuck you trying to do? Why are you doing this for and everything like that? It's like, I don't understand why you're doing that and everything like that. And so long story short, this was very, like, kind of like nerve-wracking and, like, I'm nervous at the time. And I don't know what her reaction is going to be and everything like that. And so, you know, I continue on and tell her about, you know, what's going on. I told her, like, we have a girl that's living with her. You know, and too. And she says, like, are you cheating? What are you doing? And everything like that. And I'm like, nah, I'm not cheating. It's like Cathy likes her also. We both know. Cathy knows also. So she's thinking that I'm cheating and doing some shit beside, like, on the slide. Mm-hmm. Like, on the side and everything like that. And, like, no, I'm not cheating, Ma. Cathy knows about it. And she's like, well, pick out put the TV à la caille. Parce que, m'bana bagay sa. Benal sa, bagay sa fou. Ou get dans l'église là, ou baka faire ça. So I know that was a little bit too much in Creole. But what my mom said, it was like, don't bring that shit to my motherfucking house. Mm-hmm. Straight up. And it's like, you know, you already in the church and everything like that. I don't want to be affiliated with that stuff. And, you know, so I told her and everything like that. And, like, you know, she wasn't on board and she told me exactly how she felt. And it's very uncomfortable, but it's at the same time, it's also...
Well, what does she say? Like, what does she feel uncomfortable about?
Just about the part about me having another girl. And it's like, you've been viewed as my wife the whole time. So it's like, for her, it's like, like you can't have another girl and like be sitting here in a relationship with another girl. And it's like, you need to kind of make a decision and stay with that one girl. So I kind of seen how she was kind of like thinking about it. But at the same time, it's like, it's not just me just with another girl, but you're also with that girl also. It's not a situation where I'm doing like my father and like going behind people's back. And, I kind of elaborate on different people that are in my family that like, cheat on their wives and doing different things. And it's like, for me, my wife knows about it. She knows what's going on, and everything's in the open and in the clear. So it's like, so no one gets their heart broken or gets hurt. And my mom still didn't see it as a way of like, kind of like doing a relationship. And she was like, she's traditional and she's Catholic, and she's a little bit more old school. So she's like,
and I think too also that like his mom has also been cheated on. She's been through a lot of tumultuous relationships with men. So
from my father.
Yeah, from your father, from your stepdad, like all these people. So it's like, it gets to a point too where it's like, Bernard, you found somebody that I like, which I mean, just the fact that she liked me was like a total like amazing thing. So it's like, she likes me, like we're all a great, mix. And it's like, why would you want to mess that up in her mind? Why would you want to mess it up and bring somebody else in when things are already going good? So I think that was like a big thing too for her, where it's like, for her, she also has the emotional connection to where it's like, I know what it's like being cheated on. I know what it's like when the man that I love, or I feel like I want to build a life with, is involved with somebody else and I don't know about it. And I know that part of her, like knowing, like not knowing that, like, hey, like we are all like consenting to it, like it's all cool. She couldn't get that because in her mind it's like, why would Cathy want to let Bernard be with some other girl? That makes no sense.
And I told her, like, we've been doing this since college, so it's just like,
a long
this is not
time.
Something that's new or anything like
it's
that.
Just
so
now we know it's called poly or whatever.
Yeah, now that we know and we can identify with what we're doing and like what exactly we are doing, it's like, I can kind of elaborate and tell you, like, this is the direction we've been going. It's just like, we want to go this direction. We like what we're doing, and it's like, we like how we're going about it. And I told her we had a girl that was living with us at the time, and she was like, like, I don't want to meet her and don't bring her to my house. And it's like, I'm not for this and I'm against this. And it's like, it was very uncomfortable, but it's at the same time, it also gave me like my freedom. And it's like, that's the one person that I needed to face, to like give me like actual like moral like liberation to know like, like this is okay. And like what I'm doing is like, that's what I've chosen to do. So it's like,
how was it for your dad? I mean, I know our viewers don't really know, but like, why did you not feel compelled to like tell your dad?
I didn't feel compelled to tell my dad because my dad has always been a womanizer, and he's into the cheating aspect and having multiple wives. My dad has 4 or 5 different baby mamas, and so it's like for him, it's like.
And you're like one of 13.
Yeah, I'm one of 13. So he'd be like, shit, man, that's cool. Like, shit. Well, convince my wife to do that shit. Because he cheating on his wife right now as we speak. But besides that, it's like he's not the one that, he wasn't around. So it's like my mom is the one that raised me and kind of like put these moral convictions into me and like wanted to teach me and show me like, how to be a man and how to treat women and not do the same things that my dad is doing. So it's like, long story short, just to make it quick, my dad, while he was with my mom, he went to Haiti and got married to another woman and never got married to my mom. Never valued her the way he should have and everything. He has 3 kids with her and everything, but he never took that time to like realize, the importance of a woman that's actually like giving birth to his kids and like loving her and treating the way she needs to be treated, and and he put his hands on her and everything like that too. So not to go into that, but it's just like that's the situation that made me not want to be compelled to tell my father about my situation, because my mom loves me and she's near and dear to my heart, and coming out to her was the biggest, because I know she's like, my mom is straightforward and blunt, and she's gonna be, it's either yes or no, or like
she don't fuck around.
She don't fuck around.
She will let you know what she's thinking.
She is cold-blooded, like Dave Chappelle say, cold-blooded the motherfucker. But that's how my story went, and I'm gonna pass this on to Cathy because she also had to come out and tell her parents also. So I'll let her kind of like elaborate and tell her side of the story with her parents and everything too.
Yeah. So with mines, I know we have some people on here that do follow us that know us personally outside of just finding us on YouTube or finding us on Instagram. But a little bit more context as far as to my life and my perspective on things. I come from a family of ministers. So my dad is a pastor. My mom was a pastor. They had a church, the whole nine. Grew up. Why are you laughing? But I don't always want to talk shit. You talk about saying pastor kids are the worst, which we are. You know why? People say like putting like all these expectations on us that are like way too much than what we can handle at that time. And I think that's why sometimes we rebel, is because it's like, you know, we still want to explore ourselves and explore who we are, what we like, and under this context of because you're a pastor's daughter, you cannot do certain things. Oh, because you're a pastor's daughter, you can't have a tongue ring. At 17, I got my tongue pierced anyway. My mom signed for me, but I told her I wasn't gonna tell her that I was gonna act like I did on my own.
That. You got a tattoo. Also.
I got a tattoo at 16, and we made it seem like, you know, no one even knew.
When you get your belly button pierced?
I was like 13. So pretty much that shows that like I wasn't really. I enjoyed being part of the church. I used to sing. My dad's a singer, piano, like the full, did it all. So coming from that context with my father specifically, I already knew that coming out to him was going to be really interesting. And one of two things, because number one, I never came out to him as being bisexual, number one, which is already a big thing. And then number two, also coming out as being poly, something completely different. So when I came out to my family, I really kind of more focused on my immediate family relatives, like my brother. Well, I'm only a family of like two, so my brother and I were the only siblings we have. My mom did have an older one before my brother and I, but you know, he ended up passing away at a young age. So it was just my brother and I growing up. So I called my brother. He was cool. He's like, whatever makes you happy, do your thing. Okay. So I ended up, because of the fact that we live so like far away from family, we live about 4 hours away. I called, my brother lives in New York. So I called him on FaceTime. I was like, hey, just so you know, what's going on. We have this girl that we're living with, really care about her, whatever. He ended up meeting her before because he came in town. But we introduced her as just like our roommate type thing, but he kind of had a sense of what was going on. So then on top of that, after him, I kind of got him out the way. I kind of did the easy ones first, in case you ain't noticed. Yeah. So then I called my mom, and I was like, hey, Mom. I kind of let her know, hey, Mom, just so you know, I want you to know about two big things that's going on like in our lives right now. Number one is like, I want you to know that I'm bisexual. Like I've been loving women and being with women since college. It's been happening before I got with Bernard. Being with Bernard, I've also had the opportunity to explore my sexuality with him and other people. But just so you know, like that's kind of like what's been going on with me. And on top of that, that girl that you met last time you came in town, she's really our girlfriend, not our roommate. So my mom was kind of like, oh, I figured, because at that time we only had our son, we had Remo. And she's like, I can tell by the way Remo was reacting to her and the way he was so excited to see her. Like I knew it wasn't just like a friendship. And I'm like, damn, this nigga done gave it away. God damn. So anyway, but it's like, he was like really affectionate towards her, clearly, because we all lived together. So
he's around her on a regular basis.
On a regular basis. Yeah. So she already knew at that time, but the fact that me actually coming out to her and telling her that was like a big thing. And my mom was very much like supportive, like whatever makes you happy, like I'm all for it, like it's not a problem, like I'm good. I'm like, all right, cool. And the reason why I didn't want to call, my mom and my dad were still together at the time. Now they're separated. Thank God for that. That's the whole video. So my mom and dad were together at the time. So my mom, I wanted to call her separately. I wanted to make sure that she was with my dad, just because my dad's very strong in his religious beliefs. And I wanted to make sure that when I spoke to her and I spoke to him, it wasn't him coercing her or leading her into reacting a certain way. Because I think sometimes
it's really just more allowing her to be herself.
Yeah.
And react the way she wants to react.
Versus reacting to how he wants her to react.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why.
And that was a big thing. That. So that's why I called her up on FaceTime and was like, hey, Mom, just so you know, and kind of give the whole spiel. She was like, all for it. Like, I'll support you. I love you no matter what. That was it. Then I made the call that I knew I had to call. So I called. I texted my dad. I was like, hey, are you busy? What's going on? He's like, oh, I'm up. My dad's a late owl, so he's always up really late. So I was like, hey, I want to, hit you up on WhatsApp. Because he doesn't have iPhone, so I have to come on WhatsApp video. So I was like, hey, I want to call you up and kind of just talk with you about something. He's like, okay, cool. So I hit him up video chat, and he was leaving from church. Why are you laughing?
I'm just
He's leaving
laughing.
some he's so dumb. So he's leaving some church or some event or whatever. So like he's in the car, like, and with the video phone up or whatever, the phone. So then I was like, hey Pop, just so you know, I want you to know, like, first I want to tell you about 2 different things that are a big part of my life. The first thing is that I'm bisexual, and I've always been interested in loving women and being involved with women in a sexual way. And I wanted you to know that. And then on top of that, you know, we've also been involved with another woman who we really care about. And she's really important to us and really important to Remo. And because of that, I wanted to make sure we let you know. And I let you know face to face as best as I possibly can. Because clearly I wasn't in an area to where I can just drive to you for dinner and then go back home. And my dad was kind of quiet at first. And I know in the beginning, he was kind of like hearing me out a little bit. I don't want to get too wordy with him because I already knew my dad's very like, he analyzes things a lot. So I don't want to be too wordy and like throw myself, like dig myself a grave in a sense, you know? So I'm like, you know, hey Pop, you know, I like girls. Digging. Yeah. And so his big thing was when we started, you know, kind of going with the back and forth was, you know, what's your religious conviction? And I remember that question specifically. And I was like, honestly, like, I don't really have a religious conviction. Like, I feel like this is something that's a part of me and who I am. And I think the biggest misconception is that I'm doing this because of Bernard or because Bernard's been cheating. Now I want to be involved with women.
Yeah, and that's the last thing I want to think.
Not even close. So that's why I was like, well, honestly, like, I don't really have a religious conviction because I feel like I'm operating in my true self. Like, before I knew what these terms were or what this community was that's out there, like, we've been doing that since the minute we started dating. Like, we were girlfriend, boyfriend, having threesomes, having girls stay over the house, like us doing a whole triad, like we all living together, doing like breakfast in the morning and like all that. So that was just normal for us. So it's like, I'm not doing it because I've been coerced into doing something I don't want to do. And I think for him, he was kind of like a little bit shocked by that because I think he kind of assumed maybe because the fact that Bernard doesn't have a strong personality, like, oh, Bernard must have convinced her. And I made that very clear, like, Bernard's not convinced me to do something I don't want to do. Like, this is all me. Like, this is all me. So it might be easier for you to blame him, but nah, bring that shit on me because this is literally, like, what I wanted to do. Yeah. And for him, he kept continuously asking me, like, well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you let me know? And I was honest. I was like, Pop, you know, why would I let you know when I already know how you felt? I mean, when it comes to things on spirituality, like my dad, like I said, has been a pastor for years and been working in the ministry. I would ask him questions about just other religions because I was always so intrigued about other religious beliefs and what other people thought. And he would always say like, oh, you know, don't believe that. That's not true. You know, kind of like Christianity is the way type thing. And I'm like, okay, like, it's cool. I'm not going to argue with you. But at the same time, it's like, I'm just curious. I'm just, obviously, like, it's a piece of interest for me to kind of understand more about these different religions. Doesn't mean I'm going to follow them or convert, but I'm just curious to know about them. And he knew so much in my mind that I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just tell me what you know? But he was very limited in that aspect. So for him, he was like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, Pop, I'm not going to tell you. Like, why would I tell you that? You know, like, hey, Pop. Like, I didn't tell him this face to face, but in my mind after reflecting on the conversation, it's like, why would I tell you, like, hey, Dad, by the way, you know, I'm thinking about eating coochie. What you think? He's a pastor. He's going to tell me, no, that's the devil. Don't do that. It's going to ruin your marriage. It's going to ruin your relationship.
I talked about masturbation at the dinner table.
Oh,
and
my
the
God.
awkward silence was fucking ridiculous.
When I know damn well my daddy jack
like,
his meat. So he's sitting here acting all funny. So
I'm being straight up that I beat my meat and everything like that. But like, they went into that. They were like, man, shit, man, keep that shit to yourself, man.
And
Let's
that's
talk about
the
that
point. So it's like, you can't sit here and act like you created this space. And I think that's something for us to realize, like, even now with us being parents, and even for those who are parents, is like, we have to create the space of like just allowing our children to kind of express themselves and kind of help them work through what they're working through versus helping them work through their issues, but us having our own personal agendas in mind and steering them in the way that we want them to be. When that's not their reality, that's not their truth.
And also allowing them to have the freedom to feel like they won't be judged, they won't be criticized or penalized later on, you know, for bringing up that conversation or that idea, you know, allowing them to have the option to, like, you know, explore different things and like look into what fits for them and what works for them. Because sometimes, as parents, we think like we own these fucking kids or we own this or own that. Like, nah, motherfucker, it's just borrowed.
These kids are borrowed.
They're
As much as we don't want to think about it, it's like they really are.
Like, preparing for life and what's out there and what's going to be going on. But at the end of the day, it's like they're borrowed. Just like we're borrowed from somebody else. It's like, put into us what you feel like you need us to know and like prepare us for, the game plan and what's out here in this world. But like, nah.
You can't expect us to kind of live life the way you've chosen to live your life. I think that was the biggest thing with my dad. My dad had a vision of, I was going to marry a husband, and my husband and I were going to bring our whole family into the church, and we're all going to make some church ministry. And that was not what I wanted. So that was his biggest thing. And it's like, I obviously clearly felt that I did not feel that space was created for me to tell my dad, hey, I want to explore my sexuality. What do you think? Because I already knew the answer was going to be no. Don't do it. It's the devil. Don't fall to temptation. The whole nine. We already know how that stuff goes. And it's like, and when he kept asking me, like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, well, Pop, we've been doing this since the beginning of our relationship. We've been together since 2009.
Yeah.
So it's been like 10 years. 10 plus years. We're going on like 11. So it's like, we've been together for a long time. And this is how we've been operating like on our own without any kind of influence. So that's how I know it's organic. It's not because we've been pressured because of society or whatever is cool at the time. We've been doing that shit before people even knew about the shit. So it's like, and I told my dad, like, honestly, Pop, like, we just felt like we were operating in our true selves, and we just decided to kind of explore different things within the context of our relationship. And he was like, well, if you and Bernard are married now, why didn't you tell me? Because my dad also wanted to marry us, and we're like, no, we're not gonna have you marry us. Like, dude, like, just chill, just be the freaking dad at the wedding. Don't be sitting here trying to marry us and do all this extraness. Like, it's not that serious. And I even told him, like, honestly, like, if you want to follow scripture, like, if I leave my home and join my husband and I are one. So we both are in accordance and decide to do whatever we want to do. Then we're deciding that. Why would I go back and ask my daddy for permission when I got my husband right here? Because at the end of the day, like, that devalues Bernard and his role in my life and in our family. Yeah. Why would I sit there and bring Bernard down on his pedestal of like being, if you want to be religious, head of our household, to say, no, you're head of our household for a little bit, but really when issues come up, I'm going to go ask my dad. No, that's taking his balls away. I'm not going to do that.
And even me also going to my mother and compromising the relationship I have with her, and then telling my mother all the situation, things that are going on and that we're thinking about, and have my mom have to say so instead of her having to say so on what's going on. That's like, that's evil, that's conniving, and it's like, and at the end of the day, it's like, my mom's gonna take my side and see my point of view and not see her point of view. And that's what I don't want. I don't want that shit, because of course my mom loves me. And out of the 14 kids, I'm the favorite. So it's like, she's always gonna be like, okay, like, but I wanna always be like, okay, like, he's right, we need to do it his way and different things like that. But like, no, it's like, I'm not into that traditional mindset. I need to make sure, like, we're both in accordance and agreement of what's going on, and like we feel at peace of what's going on also. It's like, I'm a big also believer in also the religion and all those different things that took place.
At the time, that was big for us, like, which is fine.
Not
but
anymore. Like,
not anymore. And at this point, it's like, we're trying to make sure we operate that we're one. Because at the end of the day, he's the one I express my concerns to, my challenges and my issues that I have on a daily basis, not my dad. So why would I sit there and go ask my dad, hey, is it okay if me and Bernard try this? It's like, what? That makes no sense. Nah. And it's like, that's one thing my dad had a hard time understanding, was just kind of like, why would you not tell me? And I'm like, well, why would I? Like, let's process this. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to bring this a whole therapy session, but like, what do you think your response would have been? Let's role play. If I would have told you all that, what would you have said? No, don't even try it. So why would I bring it up to you? Like, that makes no sense. And it's like, at this point in our lives, it's like we've gone to the point where it's like we're okay with who we are. And like, not that I don't care who I lose in the process, but I'm not going to lose myself so I don't lose somebody else. Yeah. That's not going to happen. And even like there was National Come Out Day like earlier this year. I remember it was like October 13th, something like that in October. And I told Bernard from like last year, I was like, when National Come Out Day comes around, I'm going to put a post up, on Facebook about me being bisexual, being poly, like, just to kind of like bring it out there. And it's like, some people are like, well, why would you have to express that online and social media? Who cares about social media? Like, I'm not looking for validation, but it's just for me knowing how I've kept this image up of being this pastor's daughter and having to be by the book and this and that. It's like, for me, I want that to be like my liberation of like, you know what, this is who I am. Yes, I'm still married. Yes, I'm still with Bernard. We're not getting a divorce.
We're not cheating on each other.
We're not cheating on each other. This is who we are, and this is who I am specifically, separate from him. Like, I have my own identity and what, you know, my sexuality is. Yeah. And even still, to be honest, y'all, like, I even told Bernard, like, after realizing that post, I reached out to some relatives, like aunts and stuff like that. And I saw that I couldn't find them on Facebook. I'm like, that's weird. Yeah. Looked them up on Instagram. I'm like, they're not popping up. And I'm thinking, I'm looking up like their kids, like my cousins, and I'm friends with them still. So I'm like, well, that's weird. And I had a realization, like, they must have blocked me on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm thinking in my head, like, and for a while, like, really for more so for that day, I was like, wow, like, that's interesting how me expressing my truth can make someone else feel so angry that they feel like they can't associate with me anymore. When I'm not sitting here influencing anyone to do anything they don't want to do.
And you're not forcing your beliefs or experiences or how you feel about certain things, you know, on them. So
it's like even with us having this channel, it's not about these are, you know, 101 reasons why you should be poly. No, this is our experience. We are just vlogging our experience, talking about situations that have come up, or even hypothetical situations that we haven't encountered, and just us talking about our perspectives on it. And perspectives always change. Yeah. So maybe in 5 years from now, we might have a completely different view on the topics that we talked about today. But that's the whole point about life, is all about growth. Yeah. And being open to understanding, like, there's different facets of you, and there's different waves of life that you go through. In certain times of life, in certain seasons, you might be okay with certain things in certain seasons that you're not. Yeah. You know, it's like before, I feel like I grew up in a family where, because my dad was a pastor, we focused so much on public opinion and what people thought about us versus what was really going on. And our home life was all fucked up. Yeah. All fucked up. Fake as fuck. We seen her acting like we're all cool in front of people, and we get at home and it's like arguing and bickering and bullshit. And it's like, that's how I grew up. And I've gotten to the point where, like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to create a life that, like, how I am on camera is how I am at the family reunion. How I am at Thanksgiving, like with his relatives and his brothers and sisters. With my brother, like, I'm talking how I talk no matter where I'm at. Granted, of course, professional settings, let's not be extra. Like, clearly at work, I'm not sitting here blasting that I'm poly. But at the same time, it's like, I know who I am to the point where I don't have to feel like I need to seek outside validation on my decisions in my life. But at the same time, it's like understanding that I'm not going to please everyone, and everyone's going to have their own choices and their own decisions on how they want to run their lives and how they want to run their children's lives, and that's fine. That's all cool, but all we're doing is talking about ourselves and talking about, you know, us as individuals and as a couple. And if people don't want to agree with that, that's fine, but I'm not pressuring you to change your thoughts. I'm just
be poly.
Yeah, we're just like showing, like, hey, like, there's other options out there. If it's not for you, then cool. We're not saying that everybody got to be poly, because not everybody needs to be poly. Let's be real. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it just works for us. And that's kind of how that was. I honestly didn't really come out to anybody else in my family, specifically one-on-one, when it comes to relatives or grandmas, things like that. Like, I really more focused on my brother, my mom, and my dad, because those were the ones that were closest to me. And I wanted to make sure they knew before anybody else knew, because I knew I wanted to post up something on Facebook. So I wanted to make sure that they knew about what was going on with us, which they already kind of had an idea anyway, so it wasn't really that much of a reveal. It was just that, for specifically, my dad had different perspectives that he wanted to kind of throw at me, and I think to almost kind of make me doubt myself. And I think I'm glad that I was in a place where I was comfortable in myself to know that, like, you know what, I can see that you're challenging me, but this is not going to change my perspective. Like, this is really who I am, no matter what. So I think that's the biggest thing for us. But honestly, y'all, that's how kind of went for us. At least for me, specifically, Bernard kind of shared his experience. Did you want to add anything else? Anything else you thought about?
Not really else to add, but just to say that be honest with yourself, and the ones that really matter, you know, those ones you need to go ahead and tell them. It's like the ones that don't matter, it's like they gonna have their opinions and judge you regardless.
And they're gonna hear it through the grapevine too.
They're gonna hear it through the grapevine, but just like, you know, just to clear it up, you know, sometimes we're afraid of what other people's opinions, and you know, you have parents that might be like, hey, I'm receptive and I'm open to what you're saying, and like, that's great. I'm glad you came and told me, like, you're being open and honest about the situation. You know, because last thing you want is for them to, like, find out through somebody else And it's like, then they more pissed off instead of, you know, you telling them, yeah, they're upset, but he's like, at least they heard it from the source itself. So, you know, keep that in mind and just like, you know, be true to who you are, you know? And sometimes, you know, it's like, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel like fuck, what's going on? But, you know, go through with it. That means you need to do it even more.
Yeah,
you know,
and also to evaluate your current family situation, because not everyone has the same dynamic that we have as individuals.
Yeah.
So if you haven't talked to mom and dad in years and you don't really have that connection, you might not feel compelled to tell them because they weren't really in your lives, and that's okay too.
That's okay.
It's just a matter of understanding, like figuring out what do you need to be whole and to be okay, and to feel like you're owning yourself and your sexuality. Some people don't want to tell their family at all. And they'd rather them just find out through the grapevine. And that's okay too. We're just, like I said, we're just sharing our experiences. For us, it was really big for us because our family is a big part of our lives. And we wanted to make sure they knew what was going on. Especially more so because we had someone living with us. It wasn't just like we were dating them. They were living in our home. So for us, we really wanted to make sure like they knew what was going on and what was happening. But also understanding that, you know, this is a decision that we made. And it's not something that we were forced into or coerced into. It was something that we decided to kind of go into together collectively as a whole. So that was kind of our experiences, you guys. If you guys have any experiences you guys want to talk about, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. If you guys don't follow us already on Instagram, it's IG at Voyage. DM us if you have any questions, things you want us to talk about. If this video sparked up certain things that you want us to kind of go into, definitely let us know. We're definitely up to doing video requests when it comes to our followers and our viewers, so definitely feel free to communicate with us. We have had people kind of communicate with us and tell us and ask us different questions about how to manage situations, and we've been very thorough when it comes to contacting them about what, you know, what our advice would be in that sense. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. We know sometimes this community can be so small, and now it is getting bigger with the different, you know, vlogs and podcasts kind of coming out about polyamory.
Not just that, but just knowing like there's other people out there
that
like
look
you,
like
that
you,
look like you,
that are young or minorities or whatever the case
feel
is.
the same way, and they're, you know, younger minorities and different things like that too. It's like, you know, you want to take advantage of that. And it's like also having that community gives you a little bit of bond, a little bit more chemistry, and a little bit more like opportunity to be like, okay, like, damn, like, I'm not out here solo, you know. It's okay for me to think outside the box. It's okay for me to not have to go the traditional route and the social norms that everyone chooses to go through and everything and accept. So it's like, you know, like, be who you are and be different. And it's okay to be different. You know, the ones that need to understand, they understand. The ones that don't understand, you don't need them in your life anyway. So what's the point of fucking sitting here trying to please them and stay happy, you know? So.
And even with that, like with the relatives I saw that blocked me on social media, like, I didn't call them up. I didn't text them and say, hey, why aren't I got this point, like, I might do what it is what it is. Like, I know I didn't do anything wrong or disrespectful to you, and if you feel like me expressing myself and who I was and who I am as being offensive to you, then that really shows me your mindset, and I don't have to really explain shit to you, because it's like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I'm grown. I got my own family. And at the end of the day, like, I'm operating in my true self, and that's the most important thing. I'm being true to who I am and what I want. Bernard or not, like, I am who I am. And that's something that's important to me that I had to kind of grow into. And because I finally got to that point that I'm owning myself and my sexuality, I'm not going to let nobody take that shit away. So, it is what it is. Be in your feelings. I don't give a fuck. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we don't. We really don't give a fuck.
We really don't.
But, you know,
but,
we didn't want to come off that way, but...
I know, we trying to keep it cool, but... We don't give a fuck about... Nah, we didn't just say. But anyway, y'all, if y'all have any...
Great night, you know, this all love and everything like that, you know, and it's a saying that no one cares what you have to say until they know that you care. And we really care, and we just want to also give you, like, a platform and a foundation to grow and, like, continue, like, you know, pursuing a journey of going polyamory and doing the things you want to do, you know, and also, like, you know, being authentic. We're not just other people, but just yourself first. Yourself is the most important person. If you don't value yourself, no one else will. If you don't like yourself, no one else will. So it's like, you know, keep that in mind and run with that. We're over and out, and just want to leave y'all on that note.
Yeah, that's all we got, y'all.
Yeah,
so
that's all we got.
Keep the requests coming. Hit us up if you want anything else you want us to talk about. But other than that, yeah, have a good night.
Have a good night. Be
Deuce.
blessed.